Okay, little Jon Snow, eyes open.
Little Luke in the Wampa Cave.
Yes.
Except...
Ooh, big stretch.
Rainbow Road? Mario Kart? Where is she?
She's dead.
Well, between worlds.
Oh,
Look, you can see
yes, there's all the worlds. She has to restore the sacred timeline. No, that's another show.
Well, how did she get here, though?
Yeah, I only
Back
see...
here again. Where's Ezra? Is Ezra here?
Come on, live action Ezra, not in hologram
Wow.
form. Give it to us.
She's saying so much with her eyes.
Master?
What?
Did you just hear that? Did he say snaps? No. Too
She
soon.
touched her head.
She's wondering where she is.
She said master.
Yeah. Does that mean?
What?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, twice
It's Clone
as
Wars
nice.
Season 7.
Second time, twice as nice for me, baby. Look at that smile.
Look at that smile. He's looking at her with love. Look at her. Look at that awe.
Oh.
And then it's a bit fear.
Ooh.
Do you see that
Yeah.
range of motion?
Yes. Now I think that stinger is because she's afraid of him, not because he's doing anything. I think that stinger represents her fear.
She heard the Imperial March as well.
Welcome back to the break room. We got the return of some awesome lightsaber fights as well as the return of a very familiar CGI de-aged face. And the first live action appearance of the World Between Worlds? This show just keeps on delivering, Maude.
Doesn't it just?
This is Wookieeleaks, our weekly Ahsoka after show. It's me, Tommy B, and joining me to discuss episode 4, Fallen Jedi, is Maude Garrett.
Hello.
How are you, Maude?
Fallen not just metaphorically,
No.
but literally.
Yes. Took
She
a little
fell.
tumble. Took a spill. She fell, and no one was there to catch her.
Well, that's not. Okay.
Well, that we know of, that we're not ready to go into yet. You know what I am ready to get into?
Shirts.
Shirts. These comfy Star Wars shirts. These are available at nerdriot.shop. This one says Kessel Runners. I know it's a little... You can't really tell because the gray print on the camera, but
We're
trust
just here to
me,
critique.
it says Kessel Runners. These sporty Star Wars shirts are available at nerdriot.shop just in time for football season. All right, now, folks.
How's that retail fold?
Wow.
Did you see that?
That was fantastic.
Thank you.
That's showroom worthy.
It really is.
If anyone wants to buy this straight off the rack, come on down to Manitoba, Canada, where our offices are based, and we are always ready to receive our lovely fans. So, again, nerdriot.shop for your Star Wars shirts. We got other great collections. We got a brand new Ahsoka collection. And keep a lookout because there's a God of Mischief releasing some shirts soon.
Low key?
I want to say low key, yes.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So,
Keep that on the down low.
Maude,
Yeah.
what the fet happened in this episode?
Wash your mouth out, Tommy.
Carabast!
Let me tell you what happened. Sabine and Huyang attempt to repair their ship to contact Hera, but they can't get through. Ahsoka decides that they should find Morgan's base while Huyang works on the ship, but she questions Sabine. Now, this is an important thing because Sabine is supposed to be training with Ahsoka. Ahsoka knows more than Sabine does, especially when it comes to the balance of the Force. Will Sabine be able to sacrifice her desire to find Ezra if it means stopping Thrawn's return? Sabine reassures Ahsoka. There's some doubt in the air, I think. You know?
Why was it brought up if it wasn't going to come to fruition?
Dave Filoni really likes to tell and not show sometimes.
Yeah,
You know, he's like, I'm going to make this point incredibly, you know, especially when the Force deals in grey energies sometimes, light and dark. This one, there's no wiggle room. Hey, after our title card though, Huyang is ambushed by an HK assassin droid. Ugh, what a meatbag. Sent by Morgan Elspeth. Now, do you know about the HK assassin droids?
Tell
They
me
feature in Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh.
It is a playable character, and he basically cannot stand humans or anything that has organs. He's very pro-droid, and he calls everyone meatbags, which I think is such a beautiful insult. I'll be a meatbag any day.
I'm a big meatbag.
But Huyang is not an assassin droid, but throws a mean right hook. I actually really loved seeing two droids fight.
Yes.
What was the 2013 classic with Hugh Jackman with the
Real
fighting
robots or something like that, or Real Steel.
Real Steel!
Yes.
We had our Real Steel moment that we haven't seen in a decade with this one. But of course, this was just supposed to be round one of the wave of fighters, which were no match for Huyang. Get them.
I don't think they were ever meant to be a match. I think it was always Baylan's plan to send those people to their death and then have Marrok and Shin encounter them in the forest, as we'll soon explain.
Yeah. So anyways, more of her droids and guards close in. Ahsoka and Sabine join the fight. I kind of like seeing these two together because you've got Ahsoka's like, boom. And then you've got Sabine's like, pow, 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 ding, ding. Because of the Mandalorian.
I do. I love it. The Mandalorian gauntlets. What can't they do?
Are they not braces? Gauntlets.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, who cares? Anyway, they make quick work of this fight, but not without the ship taking a little bit more damage, especially when Huyang was pulling those wires.
Right in the same spot. It was so frustrating.
They leave Huyang to fix the mess, but not before he can remind them that they need to stay together because they always did better that way. Don't split up. What do you think's going to happen, Tommy?
Huyang is a gaslighter. I'm not sure if I'm even using gaslighting in the proper text there, but he's like, she's the worst Jedi Padawan of all time, but gosh, you guys need to work together because she's the best. She's the worst we've had in 25,000 years. That's true.
Well, maybe that's why they need to stay together. Because she's a liability.
Yeah. Huyang's he's not like an assassin droid. He cares for these meatbags, allegedly. You know who else cares for these meatbags? Hera. Because she's disobeying the council, and she leaves the fleet on her ship, the Ghost, taking Chopper and her son Jason with her. 5 additional pilots join her, including Carson Teva. No Zeb?
No Zeb.
Where is Zeb? What's happening here? Give us Zeb. Come on.
Didn't we see Zeb quickly in The Mandalorian?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so put him back in.
Get him in there. And he was with Carson Teva, wasn't he? Crying. Maybe he died.
I liked seeing Carson Teva, though.
I did, too.
He suits that X-Wing.
I'll tell you what, it's a bad sign when there's 2 speaking characters and everyone else is just kind of shown with no dialogue.
The Rodian! Justice for Rodians.
The poor Rodians can never catch a break. They're getting bullied constantly in the animated
first.
shows. Yeah. Oh, well, let's not even mention McClunky. All right. No, Zeb. Jason does the honors and punches it into hyperspace.
Yeah.
Back on Cetos, Morgan activates the map. And the star map dope surrounds the henge. It made me feel like an Epcot Center attraction, the way it goes up around you. It's like these planets are all around us. And if you follow this map, you can bring the most evil man in the universe back. Aboard the Eye of the Scion, the droids begin calculating the coordinates based on the map and commence what might be the longest countdown in the world. My God,
but on the prettiest device.
It was. It was beautiful.
I actually, sorry to interject.
No,
I
please.
just love this about Star Wars because the original setup of where they are, which is in the future to like where events go down. Actually, we're past that now. We're past the original trilogy. But technology has to remain around the late 70s, early 80s in terms of like their switchboards. In terms of like, I love all that kind of stuff because even though we have advanced in terms of like CGI and making things, it still has to have a beep boop kind of thing.
I love that as well. It was hilarious how long it was taking them to light up because normally when you do these cut back and forth scenes, there's like tons irrational progress being made. You're like, this is 40 minutes of progress being made in 1 minute. This felt like it was in real time firing up. Not, if there were real hyperdrive engines, which there are on the show, and they needed 9 engines to be readied in order to have the Eye of Scion into hyperspace. As Ahsoka and Sabine forge ahead, they're confronted by Shin and Marrok. The duos split up. They were warned not to. It's Shin versus Sabine, Ahsoka versus Marrok. Sunday. What?
Sabine, it's Ahsoka and Marrok round 2.
Yes, that's right.
It's the second time they've faced off together, and with Sabine and Shin. Second time.
And historically, these fights have a third go-round in boxing, although I have a feeling Marok's not going to show up for his. Now, sabers clash. Blasters fire. And after a series of clashes, Ahsoka slashes through Marrok, where a literal shriek of black smoke erupts from the wound.
I would
What
argue
in
that
the
it's
red
green.
woman?
I would argue that it's green smoke.
Green.
I would argue that.
It's that green smoke, baby. Ooh wee.
Now, was Marrok a fart the whole time, or was he sort of like a resurrection that the night sisters use? And I actually think that you've got Morgan Elsbeth, who, you know, she's paid all these people. She's paying Baylan.
Yes.
Shin, they're on payroll, right?
Yes.
She just needs man or woman or gas power.
Yes.
And so I think she's just resurrecting an entity, put a suit on it, boom, Marrok.
Yes. I think.
How embarrassing for everyone, though, that we spent so long trying to guess who Marrok was.
I know.
Only
All
to
the
fact.
memes. If I was Eric Voss, I'd never come out of my blue dungeon again. I'd be humiliated. Kidding, Eric. We
Dave
love you.
Filoni's like, oh, I'm going to make you guys sweat
Yeah.
over this.
I don't know.
Win.
Maybe there's several Marroks. Maybe the Marroks were the Marroks we made along the way. I like to think Morgan Elsbeth took a giant bong rip and breathed Marrok to life.
Because she looks like she relaxes that way.
Well, you know, some stoners get very introspective. Now, with Shin momentarily distracted, Sabine tells Ahsoka to go after the map. I've got this. You don't.
You don't.
Not even
Yeah,
a little bit.
don't.
Morgan leaves Baylan to protect the map, and Ahsoka appears meeting Baylan face to face. And pulling a Don Draper when he says that Anakin spoke highly of her, she just replies, he never mentioned you. Which, I have a theory on why that is.
Go.
I think Baylan is like a actual con artist medium. Like, but he actually can read minds. I don't think he's who he says he is. I don't think he was an old Jedi Knight. I think he's someone who has force powers that reads the minds of the people that he's engaging with to manipulate them mentally. Ooh. He knew all about Ezra Bridger. He knew all about Anakin Skywalker. He knew the two names to say to these people to disarm them.
That is a really good point. Can I actually have a big chat about Baylan? Because I really like this character more and more every week. I am Team Baylan. Take me as your apprentice. Like, I think that the way that he's demonstrating, especially in these conversations with Ahsoka, where he's just like, he's trying to talk. He's very diplomatic. And then it goes into fighting. And he's actually like, hey, this is you doing this.
Yeah,
this is your choice.
He said this was
your
inevitable,
way.
right?
Yeah, this is what you
or
have
how
learned.
inevitable, he said.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then later on, when he kind of convinces Sabine, he doesn't choose violence.
Yeah.
He's not forcing her to do anything.
Right.
He's very coercive. And I think that, I don't know, it kind of gives me a bit of Qui-Gon energy where it's like, we can talk this out. We don't have to go to violence every single time. So even though he's Sith, he's got a red saber, I would argue it's orange. I think that this guy is kind of more in the middle than we think.
Yeah, and his reverence for Ahsoka, the way he speaks about her when he's not around her, makes you think. And I think his kind of like ordering his assassin droids and foot soldiers to their deaths.
Yeah.
To me, indicates more of a respect for Ahsoka and the Jedi. My other than pivoting from my theory, my secondary theory would be that he's just not Baylan Skull. He's someone else whose name is more important that you'll find. Like,
After Marrok, no.
Yeah, good point.
No, fool me once, shame on me.
Well, that's true. Don't question my motives, and also Ahsoka questions Baylan's motives. He says that he's trying to secure the future. I'm still confused by that one. And that one must destroy in order to create. But he's bringing in other people that are not he's gonna get pushed out of the way. Does he just want to watch Thrawn destroy? Is he like one of those sickos that goes to Vegas to watch the casinos get imploded?
It's Villain 101. You know, it's Thanos with the snap.
Yeah.
It's we have to create to destroy. And so I can understand why looking to Thrawn to stabilize, to kind of like have order within chaos.
Yeah.
I kind of get it. The order of the Jedi's Jedi, never plural. Jedi is the plural.
I thought it was Jedis.
Yeah.
Jet ski?
100%. You nailed
great.
it. Wow, how do you get so good?
I'm a
every time.
wordsmith.
They fell apart. They did it wrong. If there's someone who can provide better structure, you know, I just realized I'm just a Baylan stan.
You are.
Yep.
You're bailing him out logically here.
Yeah.
We'll get into this a bit later, but first, can we talk about the lightsaber duel? He even throws a rock at her. God, I love the bad guys because they can do so much more fun stuff. Now, I will say the Jedis are like totally cool with pushing people.
Jedi.
Jedi.
We just
good
went over
point.
this.
The
Jet
Jedi.
ski.
The jet skis are good at pushing people. They're fine. They'll push someone like into a electric panel. Like they'll push a stormtrooper to his death. But the Sith or the dark side Force users, they will straight up throw things at you.
Yes.
And that to me is why they're always going to be cooler.
Yeah, agree. Where's the lie?
That's right. We get some great intercutting between the fights of both the masters and apprentices, which I want to remind you all was the name of a commercial I did for PetSmart with Ed Bagley Jr. in times where master and apprentice were maybe a little more acceptably used.
Really quickly with the fighting styles, I noticed that both times here, Ahsoka with Marrok and then Ahsoka with Baylan, there is a lengthy period of time before these battles start. Like they assess each other, they remove cloaks. It's like a whole ordeal to get into it. But I think it's about baiting to see who's going to start the fight. And like Ahsoka's there, and they kind of, Baylan and Ahsoka will change and adapt their stance. So Baylan will start out like that, where Ahsoka does her usual kind of like backwards or above, and then you'll notice they both eye each other up and then swap and they take on each other's stance. So what I think this represents is that they've both had training and they've trained in so many different styles of fighting that they are literally trying to choose the fighting style to best adapt to their opponent. Because otherwise, why the hell would you need 12 seconds of staring at each other by moving hands before a fight?
I could look at him for hours.
I'm so gutted that he won't see the success that he's made in this show. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Truly an incredible performance. Ultimately, Sabine is knocked down. I did that like a newscaster where I was like, had a sad moment and then went so cheerful, way too cheerful to try and counterbalance.
That's television, baby.
Yeah. But I'll call it out, whereas these coward newscasters will just go right into tonight's bright spot.
A puppy!
15 killed in a train crash. Did you know water parks are more successful than ever? All right, Sabine is knocked down after Shin does her dirty by punching her in the face. Very Game of Thrones.
We love it.
Knights punching each other in the face during a sword fight. Sabine thrusts her hand out like she's going to use the Force, but Shin either got hit with a light tap or flinched like something was going to happen because Sabine can't follow through.
No, I read that as when Sabine's trying to get her lightsaber back, Shin was waiting for it. So she's trying to instinctively dodge the lightsaber because if she can activate it and come back, she gets sliced. So she was waiting for that to happen and she was like, wait a second.
She can't do this.
You ain't got no Force.
Ain't got no Force yet. And maybe you won't ever. And that's okay.
I don't know. I don't know if it'll happen. I mean, Jason's already showing signs of prospect. Anyway. Yeah. Well, Shin then taunts her. You know, she's like, haha, you have no Force. And then gets her lightsaber knocked out of her hand by a dart from Sabine. Pew! She's still got a few tricks up her sleeve, quite literally. So does Shin, though, who drops a smoke bomb and escapes.
Oh, yeah.
I thought she was going to use that smoke bomb and then stab her.
Me too. I thought she was going to come out of the smoke and stab her again on the other side.
But then it's like, what was her overall objective? Was it to kill her because she had a chance to do so, but she fled? Was it just a stalling technique?
I don't know. I wonder also if she was just so thrown off by the darts. She was just like, okay, I'm actually legitimately freaked out by this.
Yeah.
I don't know what else she has, and if I jump at her, she might shoot me again.
What is this Mandalore fighting technique that I've never trained against?
Right. Oh, and Shin does seem to be like naive to anything other than the ways of a Force user.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Back at the henge, Ahsoka retaliates against Baylan, knocking him over so she can grab the map, deactivating it, but just a horrific burning in the process. Real sticky bandits. Or wet bandits. They were the wet sticky bandits in part 2.
Oh,
wet bandits in
Home Alone.
Yes.
What is Home Alone?
Yes. And then she drops the map, and it rolls like a bocce ball at my uncle's 4th of July party. The only difference is no one's getting sent to their room early because they spilled macaroni salad all over the good carpet.
Do you want to talk about it?
I'm not ready yet. Baylan resumes the fight, getting Ahsoka to the cliff's edge. But when Ahsoka sees Shin, she grabs Shin with the Force. Only Shin. She's like, you got to join her only Shins. My only Shins, by the way, was closed down because I showed a little foot. Now, she sees Shin. She assumes the worst was Sabine, and she grabs her with the Force, throws her against a rock, knocking her out. And Baylan uses that moment to strike back, pushing Ahsoka even closer to the edge. Baylan is reluctant to finish her off because, as we've said,
he ain't the bad guy. He's not all bad. He doesn't want to kill her if he doesn't have to. He respects her.
He probably respects her more than he respects any of the people he's working with.
I agree.
He says witchcraft to Morgan. Clearly does not respect her. Or he respects her, but he does not.
He respects her money.
Yes.
Credits. Credits.
Her credits are good here.
So Sabine's got the map in hand. Ahsoka tells her to destroy it, but she instead keeps her gun trained on it. I will shoot it. This is the MacGuffin, right? She's literally holding the MacGuffin at this stage. She's telling Baylan to back away, but he does the opposite. And with one blow, boom, knocks Ahsoka off the cliff. We think that's it because it's the edge.
Yeah.
You know, so we don't know what's
And the episode's called Fallen Jedi.
Baylan and Sabine face off. He encourages her to destroy it, but then he mentions Ezra. Now, this is the emotional piece here. Is he reading her mind, which you seem to think so?
Yes, he's like a carnival barker. He's like, I will use verbal manipulation. He's taken a lot of those how to succeed at business classes, how to make the deal. He's read The Art of the Deal by former President Donald Trump enough times to know you never give away your hand, the full hand.
Slanders Baylan's good graces. He does, though, promise that she will not be harmed if she comes with him, and then she surrenders the map in the longest handing over. I thought someone was going to blast it out of her hand because it took so long.
Or I thought she was like going to do something weird where she had like some like little darts in her wristband.
Or she changed it with the smoke bomb and then went and deactivated because it was just so long. But instead it was just her inevitable betrayal.
Oh, it made me feel so sad inside.
But then Sabine ultimately returns the map to Baylan. And to add insult to injury, Shin, who's now awake, goes, haha, I know her. I wanted to kill her earlier. And now that we have no need for her.
Yeah.
And so she's choking. But Baylan's like, no.
We made a deal.
I gave her my word, and my word is worth something here. Again, you're just like, how admirable is that?
Very noble.
He's a good guy. He says, hey, don't do it. And how good is Shin obeying?
I know.
What does that look like, Ahsoka and Sabine?
I know. Could you imagine a master and an apprentice with a little chemistry, a little... mutual respect for each other? The map has been restored in its place, and the ship finally completing its preparations. Baylan destroys the map. Ain't nobody following them. The group heads to Morgan with a handcuffed Sabine. Meanwhile, Hera and her squadron arrive with Huyang informing her of Morgan's ship, which they fly in an attempt to block it from making the hyperspace jump. Why would you fly at that thing? I mean, my God, it's a hula hoop for crying out loud.
It's like
with
standing in
hyperdrives.
front of the Death Star being like, you won't hurt me.
Have you learned?
Alderaan, it ain't gonna happen.
Exactly. These people aren't known for destroying entire civilizations. Now, with Baylan, Shin, Sabine aboard, Morgan chooses to jump to hyperspace.
Ignore them.
The Eye of Scion, that was nice. That was a good read. The Eye of Scion rumbles to life and jumps, knocking 3 of the X-Wings down to sea toss, with Hera and Carson being protected by Luck and plot armor.
Or Jason.
And Jason, that's a good point. Jason tells Hera that he's got a bad feeling about this.
How many times has that been said now? He didn't say about this. It's just a bad feeling.
Well, it's some combination of I've got a bad feeling about this, I've got a bad feeling, I've got a good feeling about this, is said, I believe, in every single Star Wars property.
Yeah, I believe that.
Huyang calls out Sabine and Ahsoka to no answer. Well, maybe you shouldn't have, done everything you could to antagonize Sabine. Maybe a little more nourishing or nurturing.
She is a mother. That's so bad to say. Where's your nurture? You have a child. You must love everything.
That's right.
You must support and nourish. Anyway, we see the empty henge where we last saw Ahsoka, and now as we crane over the ocean, we settle on her face, except she's not floating in the ocean. Where is she floating? In the world between worlds. We're going to get to what that means in just a second. Because what do we hear but your turn to do an impersonation?
Hello, Snips. I didn't expect to see you so soon.
Snips! Snips! This is the first time in live action we've heard that word used.
It's Anakin!
It's Anakin.
And a de-aged Hayden Christensen, no less. And I gotta be honest, people were complaining, but I feel like they want to complain about anything. I thought he looked fine. I mean, come on. And also, if you watched our live stream, at that point I went, what? Because, I did a little research. And how Hayden Christensen was soft confirmed by Rosario Dawson at a convention. Yeah. He was never, I don't think, officially cast in this. It was just like Rosario let slip by accident. So it was always heavily rumored and basically known to be true. But everyone assumed they'd be flashbacks, not this crazy world between worlds.
Well, I mean, this isn't necessarily a flashback, but it's...
It is like a projection backwards, right? Like whatever form Anakin is taking there is.
Is he a Force ghost in this particular instance?
But he didn't glow, right? He didn't have the blue around him.
He looked like a hologram.
He did?
Yeah,
I gotta go back and watch.
He's not corporeal. Hey, anyway, we've got some questions that we want to get to.
Is he meat?
Is he meatbag?
Call in if he's meat. All right. Let's talk World Between Worlds, okay?
Yes, let's do it.
This is the World Between Worlds, a realm in which the Force connects all time and space.
Where is it featured?
Well, in Rebels Season 4, Episode 13, Ezra Bridger saw the World Between Worlds, during of which we got a lot of vocal cameos. You want to hear about them?
Sure do.
Yoda,
Yep.
Obi-Wan,
Yep.
Qui-Gon, Ahsoka, Maz Kanata, Kanan Jarrus, Shira, Imwe, I am one with the Force is one with me, Jyn Erso, Kylo Ren, Rey, Poe Dameron, the father, the daughter, the son, aka the Mortis Gods, more on them in a second, Leia, Anakin, and later Darth Vader, and finally, old Palpy Bang Bang, the Emperor himself. Now, Dave Filoni has said that he doesn't think of the World Between Worlds as time travel, that instead it's about gaining knowledge of the future.
It's a separate dimension where it's like you can, I think, go through different sort of stages, doors. Hey, anyway, when you see events in the past, like Ezra did in Rebels, you can choose to alter them, but it's perilous to do so, which is why it's like interesting that it's not time travel, but you can like affect the chain of events, and you have to be responsible with it, which is very much time. Anyway, in Rebels, this specific episode, Ezra saw a previous moment in history and pulled Ahsoka into the world between worlds, but without getting into the nitty-gritty of time travel. Now, this was something Ezra was always meant to do, and thus just close the time loops. With all of this in mind, now that we've kind of got a little understanding of the world between worlds, what could this version of Anakin be to Ahsoka? And since Ahsoka had been in the world between worlds already, does this give her an easier access point? Thoughts?
My thought is that now that since she has been there before, that perhaps she is easier, she can move in between easier. She just doesn't know how to travel it herself yet. I believe Anakin, or whatever that essence of Anakin was, is what pulled her in there.
I agree.
To safety from another moment in time in which she faced impending doom, right? Because that was the last time Ezra pulled her out,
But
right?
Ezra pulled her out to save her from being killed by Vader.
Right.
And I really do think that we have to...
Differentiate the two.
Absolutely. Anakin is dead.
Right.
And Vader has taken Anakin's place. So with Anakin in the world between worlds, is he still going to be the Anakin that we know and love? He's called her Snips, so it seems like he is old Anakin.
Right.
Is he a Force ghost because he's technically dead?
Right.
Is he a spirit? His spirit lingering in there?
But they played the Vader sting.
They sure
at
did.
The end, so it's like
They played Imperial March, which only means bad things. So is this a ruse?
It feels like it could be a bit of a ruse.
A Russo brothers move?
Russo brothers move.
Yeah.
I wonder if this Anakin is Anakin, good Anakin, dead Anakin, like completely severed soul-wise from Vader, if then he could sense Ahsoka in danger, and was like,
and he's still a guardian of her, and he's still always going to look out for her.
In the way that the original trilogy kind of set up this like stewardship of like even when Obi-Wan died, he was still looking after Luke, right? And then eventually Yoda, even when Yoda died, he was still looking after Luke. So it's a little closer to that, I think.
I agree with it, but let's see why she's in the world between worlds. I have a theory that at the moment where we've left things, there is no map to this location anymore. Baylan has destroyed it with his lightsaber, and he's basically said no one can follow us. Sabine is on that vessel, so she is there, and she's able to get to that location. Ahsoka is separated. How is she going to get to this mystery location? I think she's going to use the world between worlds to get there. It's technically a way that you can travel to destinations, and let's remember who's been in the world between worlds. Ezra.
Right.
So I think that Anakin's there to pull her into it, to get her to Ezra, and I think that there is a doorway between where Ezra currently is, and Ahsoka's going to use that world between worlds to get to Ezra's point in space. So she doesn't need the map. She's got the world between worlds for that location. So she's going to end up there. My guess is next episode.
Wow, I like the fast.
meet
I like that they've already. The Eye of Scion has moved into hyperspace. It's not just this thing that's going to happen in the penultimate episode.
We're getting there.
It's already getting. I wondered. I like your theory, but the other theory I had imagined is that perhaps when she had such an impact, whatever the witchcraft on the orb, the map, burned her hand so badly. I wondered if that somehow empowered her with the map, like she can then project the map out, like if she uses the Force, and that will then allow, Hera and Jason to come on the journey as well.
I love that idea. Marrok wasn't real.
That's a good point. Fair point. I want to talk Mortis Gods.
That's the trio.
We mentioned the father, the son, the daughter before, aka Mortis Gods. They are a family of powerful Force wielders who reside in the Mortis realm, which is thought to be the origin point of the Force. All these realms, all these zones.
So this is Lothal. They're in the Jedi Temple. Apparently there is an origin of Lothal being where this all went down. No, that's World Between Worlds, because Lothal wolves have access to the World Between Worlds, apparently. Dave Filoni likes... he's... I think known for being very into wolves.
He loves wolves.
Yeah.
Him and George R. R. Martin are a couple of wolf freaks.
Yeah. Wolves are cool. They're like the first dog,
Yeah, they're like dogs that will rip your throat out.
Yeah, what's
my
not
dog
to
might
love?
rip my throat out. I don't know. She won't let me sleep, that's for sure. Now, okay, so the Mortis realm, it's an ethereal realm with an ever-changing landscape. Beautiful, like a portrait moving in real time, like the Van Gogh exhibit that took over Amoeba Records when capitalism won out. Now, there is no time. Time has no meaning there. It exists outside of any star system and perhaps even the galaxy. Now, appearing in Star Wars The Clone Wars, the daughter was aligned with the light side of the Force, the son with the dark side because men are trash, and the father balancing the two out in the middle because daddies, be good to your daughters, as John Mayer once said,
Did
They're
he?
in the middle. Fathers, be good to your daughters. You don't remember that song?
No. Where's the mother?
The mother is, she's gone. She left. She went out for a carton of milk. Never came back. She's a deadbeat mom. Tale as old as
All of the three ended up dying. But in Rebels, Ezra activated a mural, which is what we saw of the three of them, and was able to access the world between worlds. I'm telling you, Lothal is a really important planet.
My God.
Not just in Rebels, where Ezra is from,
Yeah.
but like with all of this kind of stuff.
I thought it was just a place where Rhodians were bullied in the city streets. Like
That's everywhere.
that is true.
Tommy.
That's
they
true.
don't discriminate the bullying of Rhodians.
Justice for the Rhodians, guys. I might do a Rhodian awareness campaign.
Honestly, last time I think for me it was the week before where it was Bothans. I really kind of like feel I'm a Bothan apologist, where I just think that they got such a hard deal done. I'm going to add Rhodians to that as well.
Guys, end bullying now.
The
Take a
discrimination is ridiculous.
My God, it's almost Christmas. As we said earlier, Ezra uses the doors in the realm to save Ahsoka from death in a fight with Vader. And when the daughter died, she passed along her life force to Ahsoka and Ahsoka's owl, Maude. It's thought to be the spiritual conduit to the daughter. So that is a lot of information, Maude.
Okay, so hold on. If Ahsoka is technically the daughter, so she's on the light side.
Yeah.
That debunks the theory. Is Vader daddy? And then who is the son?
Yeah.
We've got theories.
So Gina, one of the writers in New Rockstars, had a
Yes.
theory that Ahsoka could potentially become the father,
Yes.
and Ezra would be the daughter, the light side, and Thrawn could possibly be the son. But as we were saying before,
He's
that
not the
Thrawn
Force wielder.
we have questions about how force sensitive he is, right?
I don't think he's got any force in him. Well, I mean, technically the force is in everyone, except Sabine,
Yeah.
this episode.
But he is unable to access the Force.
And I actually like the fact that like it's being channeled through people. So it's an essence, and it's like, you now have daughter energy. You've got
Yes.
the flow, the Force daughter within you. But I mean, Ahsoka has always been on the light side, but then she shunned the Jedi.
Right.
So I
And she-
like her
maybe
being grey.
also- yeah, I like her being gray as well, and I wonder if she transfers the daughter.
This is a grey pose that you have to adopt.
Yeah,
You
always
noticed
does
that?
She does arms crossed, which is negative body energy.
Mm-hmm.
Performance artists will tell you if you keep your arms crossed on stage, it means you're unopen to suggestion. That makes improv difficult. Anyway, the Mortis realm, I think it will come to play in this series because I think it's a great. I think it transfers to live action really well. You talk about telling and not showing. You put 3 people in a position of light, dark, and gray. You're showing there. You're showing the Force in its entire entity, the triad of the Force, the Illuminati symbol.
Literally my Triforce. We've seen this so many times. The Triforce is power, courage, and wisdom. In this instance, it's like sort of like the father figure, light and dark.
Right.
We've seen it with all 3 in Baldur's Gate, where they're all evil, actually.
Oh.
They all have a piece of a jewel to make up the crown. Anyway, this whole symbology works. Also, Dave Filoni has taken things that he's put in either clones or rebels and he's brought it to life.
Yes.
So I think having sort of mythology in this works. He apparently had a conversation with George Lucas about the world between worlds. So for anyone who's saying this is like a convenient thing, oh, it's so convenient that you can just kind of fall into the world between worlds and you can either get pulled in or out of situations or travel. It's something that he spoke about with George Lucas. And so I think he's doing it as a part of like Star Wars canon.
Yes.
This does exist.
Yes.
It's not just something that he's made up. It's something that George Lucas had created, and now it's been brought to life.
And I think Filoni does a masterful job of that for the most part. A lot of the stuff that translates to live action has been very, I think.
The only issue that I have is that I think for the sake of these episodes, I'm so grateful that this was longer. This was a longer 38-minute episode, and I think that those minutes are so important, especially in character development with where we're going. But I was a little bit, not miffed, but Baylan and Ahsoka's conversation where Baylan brings up Anakin. And it's like that had to happen because we were going to get Anakin.
Right.
So it had to make sense on paper. And I think that sometimes Dave Filoni is the best storyteller. I love how he tells stories. I love how he actually honors and respects the Star Wars universe. But he's also written for sort of like, animated programming with 22 minutes. And so it's very formulaic in terms of beats, scenes.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Watch one season of Rebels and you'll see that
it's all there.
Yes.
And it's like a little spoon feedy. And I think in this instance, it's like, give us a little bit of credit. Sometimes we can kind of piece things together on our own. So that's like the only thing is it's like.
I think that's very fair criticism.
Don't separate, they separate. Anakin, bring Anakin.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. We were fed a little bit of the Star Wars baby food here. Now, I'm going to ask this question to you because I want you to get a first crack at answering it because I know how important this character is to you. What does Baylan want out of all of this?
Me. Not the answer. Not the answer. I think Baylan's in this, yes, for the credits. I truly do think that he's a
mercenary.
Yeah. And Morgan has her agenda big time here. But I also think he agrees I don't think he's especially loyal to Morgan Elsbeth, but I think he does believe in Thrawn as someone who could help with structure, with the galaxy far, far away. I think the biggest problem that we have is, a tyranny with the empire, with the emperor, with Sidious. But like any single time something grows, it's just too big to have a semblance of order. I think the Jedi Order was overrun by Jedi playing sort of like a military component. But you've had Sidious who was puppeteering both sides of it.
Right.
But I think that at the end of the day, Baylan does trust that Thrawn could be the best person for the job to create order in a giant galaxy, which is incredibly hard to do.
Yes. As we've famously tried and failed before with our venture, galaxy controllers.
We'll never see that money again.
No, God, and I'm sorry, Dad. I asked for all that investment capital. In an earlier episode, he said this is about achieving power, and then he says war is an unfortunate evil, but speaks to a greater truth. One must destroy in order to create. What is he, Oppenheimer? Come on.
It's a theme.
Yeah, and then there's always the theme of balance in Star Wars, right? And in Thanos' wars, Infinity Wars, and Star Wars. It's all
Can't
about
have the light without the dark.
I think ultimately, I agree. He's motivated by money. I think he's also a person who believes that the Jedi Order failed so miserably that it's...
He's not wrong.
He's absolutely not wrong. But it's irredeemable, and the thought of recreating it again is only going to lead to more suffering. And I think that maybe he's not that benevolent of a person.
He's not evil. I'm glad that we can absolutely say this man is not evil. I think he's strategic in his ways.
Yes.
He's not choosing violence any chance that he can get.
Right.
He's good with his word.
He is.
There's respect fundamentally.
Yes, so far he's a man of his word. And I guess, before we get out of here, we've said fart and bong rip.
Yep.
What is Marrok?
A goddamn lie.
Yeah.
I'll
tell you what it is. It's a disappointment. It's a lot of videos and theories and
The
memes.
real MacGuffin was Marrok all along.
It's not Ezra. It's likely not Maul.
I mean, Maul died so many times. I was like, why not kill him and then bring him back this way? Maybe it's the essence of Maul. No.
And then there's all the Sam Witwer in the credits stuff that who knows what to believe. And
he was just a ball of gas.
Yeah. A big ball of gas.
Now, do we respect Dave Filoni for stringing us along, knowing that we would probably invest way too much energy into trying to find out? You put a mask on a character, we're going to try and find out.
I mean, and I get that. And usually, we're trained as media consumers that a masked character means a reveal, right?
100%.
I mean, other than Michael Myers, when the reveal is just that he's a normal-looking dude under the mask.
He's scary with the mask.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of Halloween is when she pulls the mask off and he's just a guy that's like,
Hi. Hello.
hello.
I have an
Sorry.
obsession.
I killed everyone.
I kind of wish, though, if this was the reveal, that it was, the gaseous form, that we were able to learn just how formidable Morgan is as a Night Sister and like her power.
I wonder if we will get a scene in the next episode of her creating Marrok or resurrecting Marrok.
He's not actually gone. Yeah, just patch up the little.
Or she just is like in her chambers and she's like.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I would love to see that because the Night Sisters, they're full on. We've seen Morgan fight off against Ahsoka before, and that was a really cool battle. Yeah. So it's let's just see, because at the moment she's just with the data pad. She's just telling a bunch of droids to fire when ready in terms of the hyperlink.
Well, speaking of a bunch of droids, I've got to go get an oil bath. So that's it for this week's episode of Wookieeleaks.
Thank the
Again,
maker.
please remember to watch Eric's Easter egg breakdown. For the love of God, please watch Eric's breakdown on the new Rockstars channel today. You follow me at Tommy Bechtold. Follow Maude at Maude Garrett. Look at us early adopters for our handles.
Yes.
Getting in early on these apps. Follow new Rockstars. Subscribe to Wookieeleaks wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for watching. And Maude, we have spoken.